Kenny here with Gardening Simplified. It's March 14th and we're going to do a garden tour. We're out here in the potato patch and you can see just exactly what a week difference makes. These were just popping up on that last video and they're just springing to life. Now it's windy today, so I hope the mic's not picking up too much or causing too much of an issue. But you can see they're just growing good, a whole bunch of them. Well, let's go look at the main garden. Well, we'll start up here at the top. And of course, our chives, they are just doing their thing. Looks like our oregano's getting bigger and our sage. All our other plants are faring good up here, our herbs in our little herb garden. Now we'll come around over here to the Victory garden, and you can see how much our Savoy cabbage has grown since last time. It's really getting after it. We put in another batch of cilantro this morning, and we've got our borage. It's looking good. It's getting some size on it. And our bok choy is looking good. Now, I don't know how well this will do this batch because today it's already 80. It's going to be 83 today, which is seasonally warm temperature. Now, last garden tour I didn't talk about. My green beans were just breaking the ground, and now you can see good sturdy little plants. I'm watching this head of Savoy here because I'm going to save it for seeds, but it looks like it's developing some cracks, so this might be fixing to decide to go to seed. That's normally one of the signs it does. Our celery is definitely looking good. Our little end of the row flowers here, they're coming on, no blooms yet. All our tomatoes are looking pretty good, our peas. And these are just starting to bloom. Now, they should be taller, but with the weather and the way it's doing, they're starting to bloom now. So let's just let them put on some peas, and we'll enjoy them. The rest of these tomatoes, and we got pretty good amount. Now, we have put our cages up on this section right in here. We've got all our baskets and cages. Now, for those of you that think these are tomato baskets, I wouldn't recommend them for tomatoes. They're much too flimsy. Now, these homemade ones, and I do have a video on making these. It's not a hard proposition. We still need to make some more because we're going to make sure we have cages on all our tomatoes this year. We're not going to do the Florida weave. It's just too much work. But these make excellent pepper baskets because they've got just enough support for that added little bit that a pepper needs. So they've been doing good for me. Now, we've had some issues here with our broccoli. You can see the one in the middle. What's happened with these winds we've had, it has just whipped it back and forth and snapped that little sucker off. These others are having the same issue with them, but they should do okay. Now, our onions, remember our red onions are on this half of the row and from here up, and we've been having to pull out, I wouldn't say a whole lot, but quite a few. You can see where there's been onions pulled up here. A lot of them's going to seed because that winter cold spell, it hit them hard, and a lot of times that's what happened. There's one we missed right here. You can see it shooting up the seed top. But what we do in a case like this, especially when they're young, we take and chop them up and freeze dry them. So it's not like they're going to go to waste. Now, we do have our yellow straight squash here. All these places where these onions have died out from that cold, we filled it in with our squash. Now, the south is this way, and they tend to migrate towards the way the light is, and it's not you know, we haven't come close to our summer solstice, so it's still a little bit further south, and they'll tend to want to grow towards the walkway over there. Our cabbage here, this is our early Jersey. It's starting to form little heads in there, so it won't be long. We should have some cabbage. We have been pulling out a few of our carrots here. They're starting to get some size on them, even though the tops aren't real long. They're having some good carrots on some of them. We might as well walk over to the little greenhouse, and on the way we look at the asparagus. We've been harvesting quite a bit, and blanch it and freeze it, and then put it in bags and vacuum pack it. Our thyme is looking good. It's getting a little bit more size on it. We still haven't taken out our cilantro, or should we call it now coriander. Now our celery, the stuff that's grown back from the base of the old celery, is looking mighty strong. The other ones are getting a little size on them too. This filter crowd is cabbage is still doing real good. It's starting to form little heads. They're a little bigger in the other greenhouse. Now we do have our sweet potato slips. They're doing good. In here, as you can see, I always say the Stokes purple. You can just see how hardy these are growing. We have some more. Now this is just our yellow sweet potato or orange sweet potato. And this one here, it looks like this is probably another Stokes purple, and it's just really taking off now. I can't be for sure, but it does look like it's got a tint. But you see from a potato down in here, we have probably 30 or 40 slips growing from one potato. And when you put them in the dirt, you can see right here all these roots that are forming up high. And that's because when they have soil above that potato, they can go ahead and form their roots. That's why I recommend planting that way. So whenever you get ready to plant them, you're not just breaking them off and them having to adjust to the situation with not having any feeder roots and have to grow some. They already have them and they're ready to go. We've got quite a bit of garlic over here from our last batch. From last year, this was our garlic bed, if you remember, and we've got a lot of the little nodules that's grown back. We need to redo this bed, but we're kind of holding off until we harvest this garlic. We may do something with it, but chances we'll just wait. Now, I have had some red cabbages that died, and I was going to put out new ones. Hadn't got to that yet, and that's just how it goes sometimes. Our deal is really getting in there, getting a little size to it. It's doing real well in this next batch of cilantro here. We're not going to the market this week, but next week we'll be going, and this should be just about right to harvest in. And we got our new batch of radishes doing fine down here. Now we do have a couple of cabbages. We probably need to go ahead and harvest them. Our leaf lettuce, which we picked some of it, but we just selectively, but you can see it's doing real good, so it won't be long. It'll be ready to harvest. We'll probably harvest that tomorrow. We've got some local people that come by and get vegetables, and we'll harvest up some of those. Now these are our cowhorn peppers. They're kind of separate from the rest. They're doing good, and our Mitchahili here is really doing good. Hopefully these warm and cold days won't affect it too much, but when I start coming down here and I start seeing flower tops already, that really tells me we might have a situation. And we have our lawsonata kale. But you can see that wind is doing some whipping on it. Right here are artichokes. Hopefully they'll do okay. They're adjusting to being out in the sun, but that wind is really rough on them. Our Roselle hibiscus, it's really doing good. This wind helps sturdy up those plants. And our blueberries are just all out there blooming, getting ready to set more berries. In the garden are one of our apple trees that we planted from seed. It's putting its leaves on. I don't see any flowers yet. And we'll go down here. See this other one. It's a little bit behind this one. Now this was the one that flowered last year for the first time. Didn't actually hold its fruit. I think an insect or something got it, but it's starting to shoot out a few of its leaves. It isn't getting like it really wants to go. Maybe it's not sure about whether it's time or not. We've still got a couple of rows to finish up down here. We'll have the whole garden rejuvenated. Now right here, we haven't got a trellis up for these yet. These are some more of my cucumbers. I have 4 rows in now. And of course all these peppers are doing good in here. Now I did notice when I was looking at some that it looked like they were trying to start putting flowers. Now they are kind of young for that, but the weather's really stressed a lot of things. Let's go around and walk through the greenhouse. Everything's doing good in here. This filter kraut here are starting to form nice heads in there, and hopefully it won't be long I'll get to try some of that. We've got our batch of radishes here. It's getting time. We're going to have to get all these harvested out. That's quite a few radishes to eat, but if you like radishes, that's good. Our cabbage in here, it's not looking good, and it definitely needs to be gotten out in the ground. Now I do have a couple more trays of cucumbers. I'm thinking about putting in one more row. And then over here we've got kind of a mixture. We've got yellow zucchini right here. This here is a cocozelle, just one came up. And then the rest of this is prolific yellow squash. And this tray here that's scattered, this is Israel cantaloupes. The seeds aren't germinating at the same speed, so you can see we've got one coming up there. Some of them's really slow about germinating. These are the watermelon. We've got some jubilees. We've got some tender sweets. We've got some black diamonds in that tray. And then we've got some replacement plants for Roselle, but it doesn't look like we're going to have them. Now I have some all sweet here. It's kind of slow to germinate. They're just now coming up here on all of these. This other one is legacy watermelons, and they're doing good. Over here we've got these were saved seeds from a Pecos cantaloupe. We'll see how it turns out. They're all germinating good. And then over here in this tray we've got some Clemson spineless okra, and it's really not doing that great. And then over here we've got some honeydews, which are real spotty on germination. And this was sunflowers, and some's come up and some just taking their good old time. We're going to see if we can get that seed off of there. Let it spread its leaves. And I believe right here Yeah, this is some more of the yellow squash. This was what was left when we planted the squash up there in the onion patch. And right here is this is like a fairy tale pumpkin. So we'll see how these do. Won't be long. We'll be putting these out. And then we've got these peppers here that need to go out. They're just not ready yet. And I had an issue last year with some of these habaneros. They just really small, and these yellow scorpions, they just kind of sitting there too. But hopefully they'll come on and take off. We do have a few more habaneros right here, which look a lot better. We don't need very many. And all these right here are our emerald giant peppers. They need to be put out. And we have some more cantaloupes and honeydews up here. And then we have these extra replacement plants here and we've lost a few tomatoes, 2 or 3, and we'll probably just put some of these Cherokee purples in their place. In here, our citrus trees are really blooming, setting a whole lot of fruit on the lemon and the orange, so that's great. We've got some more cilantro here that's bolted, so we'll take it out. Right here, we have some lemon drop melons. We're going to plant those again this year. And then we have some all sweet. Now, I did germinate these seeds a little bit different, and they're all seeming to come up not like the other. And I think the secret was I soaked the seeds in warm water for a couple of hours. And it got them to where when you start out, they're floating, and then after a while, just keep stirring them around, and then some of them will start sinking. And that's telling me they've got plenty of water soaked up. Our little elderberries are doing good, and we'll get more into that when we do our next propagation video. Now we have flowers down here in this first tray of different varieties. We still need to get the rest of our herbs out. Our feverfew looks like it's ready to come find it a place in the ground. Right here, I believe this is Mitchahili. Now, this Mitchahili here was grown from my seed, and I need to thin a few of these, but this was grown from my seed. Now, I don't know if you've seen in past videos, I couldn't find the seed I saved from last year. I looked and I looked and I looked, and when I started planting cantaloupes, I found it in my bag of cantaloupe seeds. So it just got misplaced, and I'm glad. You never know that feeling when you take and you're looking for something, and then you finally give up. You're not going to find it, and then when it turns up, it's just a wonderful feeling. I don't know if it's because I think I'm not going crazy or what. Now this is the next batch of musclin mix, or my gourmet salad mix. It's getting up there a little bit longer. It'll be put out. And this is my romaine. I did get real good germination off this, getting some new seed. My old seed just wasn't very good. Now I've got another batch of onions. I haven't trimmed these any. I'm going to put these out. I have crystal wax, and then I have some 1015Ys. And then these are my leeks, and they're looking good. In fact, they look better than the ones when I put the others in the ground, so they ought to do good. My collards aren't quite ready to go out. And then this is my butter crunch lettuce. It's still got a little bit longer before I'll put it out. And I'm getting a good bunch of growth on these chives that I've got here for the market. See, we go down here. I want to put these out today, maybe tomorrow. My rhubarb, it's definitely ready to go in the ground. I'll put it out by the artichokes. And I still haven't determined what this one was. I'm thinking This here is possibly, by the leaves that's coming out that's new, it's possibly another jasmine. Now this is my little Titan that I had a stick off of one, and it had a few roots, and it's starting to come alive. And we've got a good batch of spinach here. We're going to give it about another week, I think, and start harvesting it. We don't pick individual leaves because every year we've done that. Right after we do it, the bugs come in. We usually cut the whole row and do it that way. It makes it easier to handle too. These carrots in here are looking good. Looks like they're spaced out pretty good. Don't really have to do any thinning. And of course our beets here, they're doing good. And they look like they got good spacing. Now, and our golden beets seem to be doing just a little bit better, but it might just be my imagination. Our strawberries are putting on strawberries big time. They're not looking too bad, but there's plenty of them down there. And of course our purple coneflower and our chamomile is doing good. The chamomile's starting to bloom, so hopefully it'll start attracting pollinators. And don't you know there's something else decided to sneak in there that looks a lot like chamomile when it's little, but it's not. We'll get rid of it. Up here are our turnips. They're holding in there. They're not the best turnips. In fact, it's probably about time to replant if we're going to get some now. Our mustard down at the end, it's looking good, and it's just about at the point where we'll harvest it. Here's our other rows of cucumbers. They're getting hold good, putting on their second leaves, ready to go. And we've got some more prolific yellow squash right here where these onions were going. And that's what I was talking about in the last video, how it's easy enough I can interplant here, go ahead and let these others start going on while I'm waiting for these onions to take off. Our garlic's looking good. I'm thinking on some of this, it's not that far off from time to harvest it. We'll just have to, we'll pull one, see what it looks like, and we can go from there. But anyway, that's where we're sitting in the garden right now. Everything's looking like a garden. It's almost planted. It looks like it's paying off, even though we planted way early, you know, about a month early for our normal planting times. We're really getting good success. The weather still looks good on a 45-day outlook, unless there's some strange thing comes up. And if it does, it probably might have done it if we didn't plant early. So sometimes I say you got to, you can't just go by what people say when to plant. You got to take and do some studying. Over time, you get better at it, and you just hope for the best. But that's where we're sitting, and you can see there's so much of a change. How big the tomatoes have got, how big the peppers have got. It's just everything's looking wonderful, and still got some work. We got to get more baskets out, more cages out, get these plants ready so we won't have to worry about trying to fit them over them once they get bigger. But anyway, I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned a little bit of something. And of course, if you want to see more videos like this, of course, hit that subscribe, hit the bell, select all, and give it a big thumbs up. Hit that button and share this video. Enjoy that gardening experience.